the truth.
This is a video that I've really needed to make for quite some time, and I've really wanted to do it for so long here, but I haven't really been open about it. I haven't really decided to share this, but now I've come to a point in my life where I realize that other people are going through this, and other people have to live with this every day, and they are so scared probably and don't know what's going on. And you're probably wondering what I'm talking about, and I'll get to it in a second here. Just bear with me through this video. I don't have anything for YouTube or video recording. I'm literally using like my phone with my flash on. Mental illness, mental health issues in general have this very strong stigma around them that the person going through that mental illness is their mental illness. That is who they are. They've done something that's just like a physical problem, like not that people with physical issues are their problems, that for some reason people think that when it comes to the mind, when it comes to our mental health, that whatever they're thinking is true, must be their intent, that must be them, that is their heart speaking. That is so far from the truth, and it's something that we all need to understand. And so I feel obligated, and I also want to share this with the world about what I went through and what I experienced with this thing called Pure O. It is called Pure OCD. It's a lesser known form of OCD. And it's a form of OCD where there is no compulsions physical. There are very little physical compulsions, like I don't like organize things. I don't worry about my alarm clock, I don't have that. That's not exactly the form of OCD I have. That is a different sub-branch of the same disorder. And I just want to shed some light for people who are going through this right now, because when I first had these symptoms, I can tell you right now, I wish I would have had a video like this to watch. I would have felt so much better about it. And it was terrifying. And so I'm like, there's not enough help out there on the internet. It's like, hello? Like literally, I'm telling you, not even my doctor knew what I was going through. I've gone and seen professionals for this, and I'm the one that diagnosed myself with this basically because what I was going through was generalized as a form of anxiety/OCD. But I had to do my own self-research to realize what I was experiencing was actually a thing called Pure OCD. Basically what happened 2014, so it was November 2014 when this all first started happening. There is some mental illness in my family, so I may have been predisposed or something to this, but I'm not exactly sure. So anyways, I'll get to the point. Hopefully I kind of ramble, so sorry. I had an anxiety attack, so I didn't really have anxiety like this before. I had situational anxiety, and I've explained this to my psychiatrist and all of that. I had this weird anxiety with my body. It was a very hyper awareness of my bodily functions. It was mostly my heartbeat. I also still to this day have it with my breathing. It's just kind of started out like this little weird stint, and I was like, why am I thinking about this? I don't understand why I'm worried about this, because I was so disconnected with that part of myself. I just never thought about it before. Like, why can't I stop thinking about this? And I literally was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, I'm tripping out. And I had an anxiety attack from that. I was laying in bed, and I was about to go to sleep. I felt so good, and then all of a sudden, I'm like aware of my heartbeat, and I was like, I could not fall asleep because I was just sitting there and thinking about my heart rate. And it's like it's very bizarre, this type of thing. It's very confusing for us. It doesn't really make sense. It's almost like you think your heart's going to stop. It's almost like you think you're going to have a heart attack because you're all of a sudden aware of your heartbeat. Oh, there must be something wrong. Why am I thinking about my heart beating and doing what it's supposed to do? It just doesn't, if you've never experienced it before, it's very strange. So that was a weird night. That was a very strange incident. And so it started out very little, very small. Like I had this probably a couple times before, and it was like on a subconscious level. And so that night I had an anxiety attack in bed. I was like, not doing very well, and no idea why this was happening. And so I ended up wrong this day, the next morning, I woke up and I could not stop thinking of, my mind was hooked. I was just glued to what happened that night. It was so peculiar to my mind for some reason that I literally could not stop thinking about that night, this incident, like, that happened all day long. So it started out as something rather harmless, this whole disorder. And I just was like, this is weird. Like, why can't I get my mind off of this? It was always there. It was just a haze. It was just in the back of my mind. And so it got more and more built up inside of me. And I'm like, why can't I stop thinking about this? I almost like started to have it be this game of denial that I wasn't thinking about it, but I did. I was. And so it's like really strange. I can't even really put it into more words than that. And so I just was like, okay, like tomorrow when I wake up, it'll be gone. And okay, next day it'll be gone. Like, oh, I won't be thinking about it then. And I was feeding into this. I was feeding into it more and more because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had no prior education to this at all, or exposure, didn't even hear about it. I went to the internet. I went to Google. I'm like, why can't I stop thinking about this? What is going on? Like, my mind has been on a leash for 3 or 4 or 5 days now. And it's like concerning. And so that is what I did. I went to Google and I read that sometimes there is some people who go through forms of OCD where they imagine people like killing their family members, doing, people, like I was looking at mental OCD, like why can't I get my mind off things? And that literally, this might not happen for everyone, but when I read that people can obsess in their minds and just have these intrusive thoughts. They are called intrusive thoughts, about horrible things happening, bad, just not good things, like things that you are afraid of, like just horrible things happening. And it's like, it's very hard to understand why our minds do this, because basically what happened is once I read that sentence online on some health website, I had another anxiety attack. That was another moment in this whole process where I was so lost and so confused at what was going on that my mind just went to that. It just jumped to that conclusion. I instantly started to have those thoughts of like my family members, me doing things to them. It was sickening. It was horrible. And I kid you not, this lasted for years. 2 or 3 years. I think it was about 2.5, and it really, really was a bad time in my life, and it was a silent battle. It was a silent form of OCD. Ever since that night, I had snowballing thoughts of, I had everything from like me killing my family to me committing suicide, and I was very, very afraid, and it's still to this day, can't believe it happened, and it's a very, very difficult thing to get over, and to solve in your mind. And now this is why there's stigma. I didn't want anyone to know this because it sounds like, oh my God, you're a psycho, you're a serial killer, you're crazy, you're gonna do that. Like, and that is what drives you, is your self-doubt and people's doubt. And so I want you to know that if you are watching this right now, please, in your heart, know that you will not do those things because they are ego dystonic. They are not real. It is your mind basically protecting you from those things, but in a dysfunctional way, because those things you are worrying about and having anxiety over and stressing about every single day, because that is what I did. Just know that you are not going to do those things because they are automatically the fact that you are worrying about them is a sign that you won't, because they are ego dystonic, opposite of what lies in your heart. And this is a huge point of this video, is that we need to be connected with our hearts when we think. We need to think from our hearts, and that is how I solved this for myself. There are plenty of other things I'm going to tell you, but that is the gist of it. Because before all of this, I thought I was 100% myself all the time. I thought that I was always real and thinking from my heart, but that's not true. That wasn't where I was at. And I experienced this, and it was the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. I have never achieved something greater than getting over this, because I had no idea where I was going to go. I was, my aunt has schizophrenia, and so I was worried that I was going to, had a blood relative. I thought I was going to get schizophrenia. These thoughts took a life of their own, but it wasn't ever that. Thank God. I'm still so grateful for that I am better. And I can tell you right now, I'm sure you're wondering, am I better? Yes, I am so much better than I have ever been. I am literally, through what I have learned through this process, and this is why I want to start this YouTube channel about mental health, mindfulness, positivity, resiliency, and love, is that I am better now than I was before this happened to me, and there is a reason I went through it. And I want to share with the world what I know from my phone, for the recording. Living in northern Minnesota, I love it, it's beautiful, but I don't live in LA. I can't do it any other way. So I'm doing it through video. And I really hope that it helps people. So first and foremost, if you're wondering, there are things that you can do right now to help yourself through this, and to help calm those thoughts, and to help truly forget and move on and let them rest, because they are nothing more than a thought. And that doesn't work though. Just hearing that won't work, because you have to actively retrain your brain every single day until you can feel whole again, feel comfortable with yourself, feel safe with yourself, and feel self-love again, and know that you are so much more than those thoughts will ever be. They have no power over you. And I really, really hope that this channel, that this video helps you, because I want you to feel calm. So anyways, I want to show you a couple things that I have learned through this process. And they're easier than you think, but they're still going to take some work, of course. So the first things first, do not, as best as you can, don't pressure yourself, but don't have anxiety over this, but just don't respond to the thoughts. Do not feed into these thoughts, because they are going to feed off of your energy. Your brain is going to keep spitting them out at you, because your brain thinks that it's doing something that it needs to do. Your brain doesn't want to forget things. It wants to keep remembering that. So you have to keep remembering something else, and that is to let those thoughts come to your mind. Don't actively try to rid them, because that's another thing I did at the beginning, was I would literally visualize these thoughts being blown away on from a baseball bat, just wha-bam, they're gone. I would always do that, and I would force the thoughts out. I would force my mind to just go to something else, but it never was true and wholesome. It wasn't real. The thoughts were still there, and my brain was no, I'm still thinking about this. And I had to learn over time to let the thoughts come, to experience them for what they were, and realize that there was nothing more, and that you just had to drop them. You have to drop the thoughts. You may have anxiety, you may have this, but eventually your mind will be okay, these aren't, I don't need to do this anymore. Because the less attention we give those thoughts, the less energy, the better you will feel, and the less they will happen. And eventually you won't have them anymore. They will go away altogether. And it's going to take a long time. There's much more you can do than that. And there'll be further videos on this as well. But for now, that's what I want to tell you, is that you are a beautiful person, and that you are going to be okay. And that these thoughts, these intrusive thoughts, are not you. They are not. They are just a manifestation of our brain, of our mind. And that's another thing, is, we don't always need to believe our thoughts. They are not credible. These are incredible thoughts. So just try to let them distract you the least as possible. So it's definitely about mindfulness, as full as you can. And I'm going to have so much more content on this. I really want to talk about this and share my personality, share what I've got with you guys, because I had no idea where I was headed. I thought I was going down the crapshoot. I thought I was going to be in a mental ward, literally. And I have never felt better. I have never felt more enriched and enlightened and inspired to help others through mental illness and reduce the stigma that they have. Another hard part is that if you're hiding this, you have to seek help. When I am on medication, if you're wondering as well, I'm on sertraline 200 milligrams a day, That has helped me immensely. Let me tell you this. You can say all you want about like pharmaceuticals and medication and whatnot, but my opinion is that if you find something that helps, that genuinely helps you, you have to give it a chance. You have to take it for a long period of time. You can't up and down stop taking it. But that's only a portion. That only takes care of the chemical imbalance in your brain, but not the circuitry of your brain, the way your brain thinks and the way you function in your brain, in your mind, the way you interact with your thoughts. No medication can stop that. No medication can fully solve this. This is why I need to make a channel and to make these videos, is because no one else is doing it and talking about this subject and talking about pure OCD and bad intrusive thoughts and how to deal with this debilitating disorder. And I'm kidding you not that there were only probably about a 5-minute period of the full 24 hours in a day that I wasn't thinking about these thoughts, that these thoughts weren't coming. And it's bad enough to the point where I think we need to have a discussion about this. And so at this point, I'm gonna, I'll stop talking. I ramble a lot. I'm Italian, it's gonna happen, like I said before. But for now, I want to end this video with love and resiliency and to eliminate all of the self-doubt that it will be there, that those thoughts are somehow true and those thoughts are somehow going to manifest and happen. Love and positivity is what we are and will win in the end. That will always overcome. And that we have an endless light in us all that can never be burnt out through no matter what mental illness. Everyone who has a severe mental illness knows what I'm talking about as well. You will overcome. Your thoughts will subside and they will get back to the way you knew them before, if not even better. The thing is, like, I deal with these thoughts, not every day anymore, but I still deal with the symptoms of pure O at least once a week, but I always know what to do now. And so I want to furtherly teach you guys that. I can even teach you how to pull gratitude from this. And so that will really help. That will also very much help you become whole again. I'll talk to you guys later, and I'm going to be making hopefully a video a week or more. We'll see where this takes me, and it'll be a lot better than my kitchen table. So yeah, guys.